property investors face when they turn their property investment strategy from being a solopreneur, so them being them just running it themselves, and then scaling it up into an entrepreneurial business. So I'm going to share with you the biggest obstacle people face with that, and some little steps around sort of edging towards getting out of that. So I'm Harvey, I'm a remote property investor, and I also study property business, and this obstacles just don't face investors, this face all solopreneur business owners. So the solopreneur is like the sole trader. So somebody starts the business up, they are the business, they run they do everything in the business solely relies on that person. So I've done a thing called, I call it the, I don't know if you can see that, I call it the property investors quadrant, the IQ quadrant, and I modelled this on Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant. And basically this is, you've got 4 different types of investors. You've got your hands-free investor, you've got your part-time investor, you've got your solopreneur investor, and you've got your entrepreneur investor. And a lot of people, quick little brief on them. Hands-free is somebody's already got a job or a business they love. They just pay somebody else to do it. A part-time's already got, somebody's got a job, but also enjoy property a little bit, and they want to be a bit involved but don't want to give up their job. The solopreneur investor is somebody that's full-time in property, but they're a sole trader basically. They just do it all on their own, and if they go on holiday or if they stop doing it, the business stops also. And the entrepreneur investor, which a lot of people want to be, is somebody that sets it up as that can operate with or without them, you know. So if they go on a year holiday, then they come back and their business is still growing and moving forward because it's got hiring processes and everything in place to be able to do that. And that's a little hint on what you need to do and what the difference is between these. So many people get confused with being a sole trader as being a business owner, and you're not a business owner. A business can be an asset, but it's only an asset when it can operate without you, you know. So Richard Branson's businesses are assets because they operate fully without him. So he hires people so they can operate without him, but they operate without him for this one thing. This is one critical ingredient that this is with every single business. You see it in property, you see it in normal business, and that is systems. You've got to have systems and procedures. So there's a book I'm going to recommend you read if you've not read it before. It's kind of like a Bible for entrepreneurship. It's called the E-Myth. And they talk about turnkey businesses. So a lot of people get into business thinking, oh yeah, I'll be able to live on my terms, I'll be able to sit on the beach, you'll be able to operate without me. And they get in there with this notion of you better hire a few members of staff, you just outsource it, and it can run without you. And that is just a myth. That's why it's called the E-Myth, the entrepreneurial myth. Because ultimately what happens is you'll start a business up, and this is what generally happens in any business, whether it's property or any business. Say, let's talk about a few different businesses. You might be a hairdresser, you might be a mechanic, you might be a plumber. And what a lot of people do, they hit this they call it in the E-Myth, this seizure, this entrepreneurial seizure, where they be thinking, they might be the main person in a small little business, especially in small businesses, and they'd be thinking, I'm doing everything here, I'm the main person, I could run this. But what they don't realise is businesses are more than just the technician in front of the business. So if you're looking at a property business, it's more than the guy that just goes and does the deal sourcing on the negotiations. There's an element behind every single business. So if you're just a hairdresser, it's not just about cutting hairs, it's about marketing, it's about hiring, it's about management, it's about accounts, it's about bookkeeping. There's like the one little part of your business, whichever that front part is, what your business is based around, it's just a little tiny component in it, and there's loads of other components in there. So in the E-Myth, this is why, in the E-Myth, he explains that really well. Read that book if you've not read it. But this is why so many businesses fail to go beyond being a sole trader. A sole trader is fine if you're happy with, like, say you're a massage therapist or you're a hairdresser and you just cut one person's hair at a time. That's fine, but you're a sole trader, not a business owner. There's nothing wrong with that, but there is a big differences between the two. A business, if you're a hairdresser, but you could then go on holiday and your hairdressing company could still carry on growing, or it definitely run without you, then it's a business, and then it's an asset as well. So it's very different. If it really demands your time, it needs you to keep on moving forward, you're not in the entrepreneurial space. And going back to this property analogy, a lot of people want to be entrepreneurs and they get bottlenecked in the solopreneur bit, and the mindset comes, and the same when you're just looking at businesses. Check out what Robert Kiyosaki says, is there's that cash flow quadrant, and the same theories on this, on the 2 different sides of the quadrant, are the same. People get that mindset of yeah, I can do it all better myself, or you can't hire somebody, or you hire somebody. It goes 2 ways when you hire somebody. You hire somebody and it's rubbish, and you think, right, I'm never doing that again. Everybody can't do my business like I can. By the way, not a lot of people will. Not many people will care about your business as much as you do. Some will. You can be lucky if you hire correctly. Some will. Or you go the other way. You hire somebody who's fantastic, really luckily, and they come in, they take the pressure off you, and there's a common journey. They take a bit of pressure off you, you step back a little bit from it, and then you get a business. Because what happens, if you are really passionate, and you are good at what you do, and you really drive it properly, you grow a bit. So off that back of that growth and that popularity, you end up getting referrals and business. So then you hire somebody in, and then you grow a bit more, and because of your referrals and your past successes, it's helping you grow because you'll put so much into it. Maybe you put in 18-hour days into it. That then allows you to grow, but your own growth can be the recipe for your own undoing, because as you scale, what's happening is, because you're so busy, you haven't got time to set up the systems to be able to hire people correctly, to be able to onboard them correctly, to be able to integrate them, to be able to train them, to be able to keep them accountable. So you just put in that fire. You hire somebody that kind of help you, then you hire the second person, then you hire the third person, and before you know it, everybody's doing something of a different tune. So if you look at the companies like McDonald's, arguably the best systemized company in the world, or Costa Coffee, all these franchise chains exist because they run really tight ship systems. So McDonald's can take a teenager that can't even keep his bedroom tidy and turn him into a manager to run one of the most successful systemized businesses in the world, you know. So it's all about the systems and procedures behind it. And what a lot of people do is they wait until they're super busy to try and systemize their business. So what you should be doing is systemizing from day one, documenting all the steps. All systems are documenting the steps of how you do stuff. So if you go into Costa Coffee in Brentwood where I live, or in Stockton-on-Tees where I invest, or anywhere in the UK, you'll get the same coffee and the same service because they've got systems behind delivering it the same way. Same as McDonald's. You can go to McDonald's in Hong Kong, you can go to McDonald's in London or in Amsterdam, and you'll get the same food, same systems, and they deliver it exactly the same because of the systems. When you go into small businesses, depending on who you get in that business, you get a slightly different service, and people don't like unpredictability. People like familiarity. So that's what makes it. No, two of them people in that business can both deliver a good service, but just the fact it's different each time can off-put people because they don't know what they're going to get, and people like to know what they're going to get. So this is the key behind it. But so many solopreneurs fail to put these systems in. These systems are critical not only for delivering a fantastic service and a repeatable, reliable service. These systems are also very, very critical in when you hire people. So when you've got the systems in place, that's your manuals there to then train them into this, you know. And hiring people is a system in itself. You need to know how to identify the right staff members. You need to know how to interview them correctly. You need to know how to pre-qualify them correctly. You need to know how to onboard them correctly. You need to know how to manage their key performance indicators. You need to know what the key performance indicators are before you need to know how to manage them. You really want your values out of your head as well, because that really aligns the internal compass of your company. So there's so many elements that go to it. This is why getting to the entrepreneurship level of a business, people get successes really quick. They might be in a business for a year, 2 years, and they're earning lots of money, but it's dependent on them. It's not a business. It's a sole trader. Swap your time for money. And so many people want to get into a business which is a passive income, or a kind. There's always an argument, is there a real passive income? So there's more passive forms of income, but you've always got to manage your managers. So whether you hire and manage directly, or you hire a managing agent to manage your properties, you always got to manage them to make sure they're doing what they're doing. You know, I was in one of these clubhouse rooms earlier on, they were talking about foreign investments, and they were saying, look, the manager was renting a house out and not telling them and keeping the money. You know, and this can happen whether you're abroad or anywhere. Like getting the wrong manager anywhere, you still need some level of management. So some things are more passive than others, but this is where people get bottlenecked. They either get bottlenecked in the mindset of, in the solopreneur of, yeah, I can do it all better myself, or everybody's useless. But sometimes the reason they're useless is because you're not onboarding and found the right people and not being patient. You've got to sometimes kiss a few frogs, and this is why big companies go and buy other companies. They do acquisitions because they know the time and effort to build them systems into a company, to find all the right staff members, to train them, to build that out. Especially people not in that same industry. Like some people do acquisitions because they see a failing business and they could turn it around with their existing systems because they're so strong. But some companies go out and buy other companies and they're not even in that like not in the same market as them. Or you get hedge fund companies and big big like insurance institutions and things like that buying companies, purely because, not because I haven't got the funds to start it. Like, look, Facebook bought WhatsApp. It's in a similar industry to them. It's not that they haven't got the funds to be able to start. It's not like they haven't got the business skills to start it, but they wanted the systems and the network and everything that built up in that. And they know it takes a time and effort. It's not, even if you know what to do and you've got the money to do it, it's not an overnight thing. That's why these big companies buy out other companies and do this. And this is where a lot of people get bottlenecked and fail to get to this stage. But getting to this stage, getting to a stage where you can earn money quick can happen fairly quickish, depending on the effort you put in, depending on what market you go into, depending on you. As I said, it's all dependent on the effort you put in. But getting to a stage where it's then a business is two very, very different things. And so many people get confused with this. They say, I started my business, I've been in my business for a year, and it's like, okay, let me move you from that business. This is the sort of like litmus test, or is that the word? I can't remember. But let's remove you from the business and how well that business operates. If you come back in a year's time, will that business still be there? And the answer is no, it's not a business. And it's not a problem, by the way, especially if you're earning well at it. It's far from a problem. There's worse problems to have than maybe earning £100,000, £200,000 a year after being into a new profession for 1, 2, 3 years. There's bigger problems to have than that. But it's just being really clear about, is it a business or isn't it a business? Businesses are things that have got directing managers, operations managers, procedures how to hire people, procedures how to manage them, HR procedures. You know, that is a true business. And by the way, not everybody should be aiming at a true business. Some people are perfectly matched to being a solopreneur. Some people are perfectly matched to being just an employee. You know, it's finding out exactly what you're perfectly matched to. But this is the number one obstacle people face when they're going from just being an investor, a solopreneur, into being an entrepreneur, is getting the systemization out. If you've not read the E-Myth, definitely go out there, get the E-Myth. Marion Page's book, I can't remember the name of it. See if I can quickly spot it behind me. But her book is fantastic also. Simple, logical, repeatable. No, this is short. This is Simple Logic Repeated, I think her book's called. Marion Page. She worked for McDonald's. She's now a business coach. I've done some training with her. That book is fantastic, by the way. And she basically just teaches you what she used to work at high level at McDonald's, working on systems, and now she realised that they was putting systems together, and she's gone off and trained businesses how to build out a business. To check her out. She's a fantastic person. I followed her, done some training with her. But this is the key element, and what you need to be doing. A lot of people say, I'll get back to that, get back to that. The day you start your business, you want to be thinking about your systems. So documenting what you're doing, because if you do it once you get busy, it's such a hard thing to like rewind backwards. It's not an enjoyable thing. I don't the wrong way round. I still don't enjoy it. I've got a system on making systems and really push my team to keep on evolving them all the time, because as you grow, your systems will also grow, so you need to review them. So hope you found that useful. What position you in? Are you a solopreneur, a sole trader that's desiring to be an entrepreneur? Are you happy to be a sole trader? What sort of element are you in business? Do you understand that? Do you get the difference between a solopreneur and a business owner? I'd love to hear your comments and views in the boxes. But remember, if you don't evolve your ideas, you're never going to live on your own terms. So evolve your ideas, live on your own terms, and have a fantastic day, everyone.